Hello everyone. This video is to help you to make the optimal decision. I'm sharing with you 4 principles. These are things that I teach my holistic coaching clients, and they're a kind of formula that you can use to interface with reality. So the simplest way to share them is with one word each, and then I'm going to go into great detail breaking it down. So we have align, act, cultivate, and create. Principle number 1 is to align. Alignment here is vibrational. It's you aligning your mind with what you want, not the conditioning of what people think you should do and the many things that pull us in all different directions, distractions, etc. We want to align with our highest path of love, dharma, and excitement. So aligning with love asks that in the moment that we apply this formula, we take a moment to pause and we drop into sensing and feeling and we check in. This stops the momentum, which is so representative of the habit pattern reactions, the conditioning, and the impulses that drive us. We want to add more consciousness, more choice. So we stop and we pause and we tune in. Of all the many things that we can do, what is the highest path? What is the highest path of our dharma? Which in essence is like our purpose in the world. It's us when we're authentically acting from our true nature, which will be in harmony with who we are, and it'll also be the most harmonious thing in terms of the external world. And it will also be the pathway of excitement, of our passion, of following our bliss. Yeah? We want to calibrate to that and act on that. That's number 2. The second principle is action. We need to act on it. We get the vibrational impulse, the inspiration that drives us, the pathway of least resistance, and we'll feel this. We'll feel this. This is really key. We'll feel it and we act on it, and we act on it without hesitation, expectation, or attachment. When we apply this formula and when you live this formula, your life becomes more like a dance because you're following the intuitive and immediate impulses of your heart and soul that drive you forward. This is the most representative of what I love, and this is the most representative of what I love. And we're doing this without hesitation. We're following it. We're making decisions in the moment. This is allowing us to stay conscious and present. And we're doing this without expectation or attachment. Very difficult to do at times, yeah? Or is it? Because what happens ordinarily for most people's minds when we begin to act on what we love, we go, but will it make us money? Is it safe? Can I make a life out of it? X, Y, Z, all these things come up. The formula is to follow our path with trust that the universe will support us, that we'll figure things out. And when we do that, the universe supports us. We'll get to why. So the third principle is that we want to cultivate. This is really key for maintaining our alignment, for maintaining a positive and regulated and receptive state. This is what we want to cultivate. I in some way classify this as being in equanimity. And how I define equanimity is that we're in a equal state, an equanimous state. So we're not shifted over towards the positive and obsessively orienting towards pleasurable things, and we're not resisting negative things. We're in a place where we're more neutral. And it's from neutrality that we can choose to be positive, yeah? Because when we see things in their whole perspective, then we have choice. If we're just obsessing over the positive and not willing to see the negative, this is what we may call toxic positivity. And if we're so focused on the negative that we can't see the positive, then we've lost our perspective. But when we're willing to see the positive and negative in each circumstance, we can come to neutrality, and then we can choose positivity. We can choose to stay in regulation. Regulation refers to the nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system being balanced. And receptivity. Receptivity here refers to a state of gratitude. See, equanimity and gratitude are states that, in my understanding, lie deeper than emotions. So we have emotional highs and lows, and there's something deeper. So we can experience something difficult, something challenging, and still be in equanimity. We can still be in gratitude. We can know that the loss of a loved one is challenging, but we can still have a kind of compassion in our heart, a kind of peacefulness with it, acceptance of it. And this is the cultivation of these states. Now, in my coaching, I recommended individuals to practice. They practice things like yoga, like breath work, like qigong, things I offer and teach, because these help us to cultivate the state. Now, in each and every moment, we have an opportunity to shift our mind into equanimity and gratitude. I can go, yeah, I'm grateful. But how deeply is that state integrated within me, and how resilient is it within my system? So that when I start doing something else, have I still maintained a connection to that deeper state of equanimity and gratitude? This is why if an individual, say for example, is going to practice yoga, if they shift their mind into equanimity and gratitude in the beginning of practice, if they can practice well and successfully, they can maintain their mind in equanimity throughout the practice, so much so that it becomes integrated in the system, like another formula, like another program for the system to run. And to the degree they're successful, when they do this in one practice, if they practice, as I recommend, every day, morning and night, for some period, they can maintain their practice from one practice to another practice, so that they can maintain a state of equanimity for their entire life. Now, it may not be possible to always maintain an equanimous state, and that's fine to come in and out. We expand and we contract. But so long as we're practicing daily, and this isn't like working out. This isn't like having an hour and a half yogic routine. This is cultivating enough of a connection to your equanimity and gratitude that you can live a fulfilled life and follow this formula. It doesn't take as much time as people think, but it is about developing the habit, yeah? So cultivation really key. The fourth principle is to create. To create from your highest perspective. This is like calling upon the mind of God, your connection to the limitless potential of your mind's imagination. Because we want to be away from the conditioning of limitation of the mind. Just like body has limitations, I can only lift so much weight, I can only run as fast as I can run, but I can improve that. So too with the mind. The mind has a certain limitation, though it's not as tangible as the body. But these are the belief structures we're operating in. So when we consciously and deliberately write our story from the mind of God, we're looking from the perspective of seeing all perspectives and potentials. So that when we look at our perceived problems, our challenges in life, then we can see all the many solutions. We're creating these different neural pathways to open us up to new solutions, yeah? So when we're creating from this empowered place, we want to be aware of blocked energy. Following our highest path of excitement is going to bring up the awareness of this blocked energy, and it's going to be at 3 levels. We have the physical holdings in the body, we have the unprocessed emotion, and then we have the limiting and negative belief structures. Now they're all tied in. For example, if I'm experiencing a number of negative belief structures, such as I have to work really hard to make money and I don't have enough money, and all these bills are coming in and all this stuff is built into this financial limitation and scarcity mindset. Yeah, all these beliefs. Now, beliefs are like this, especially negative beliefs. They tie in with one another, and then they attract negative emotion, fear, and anxiety. And then the anxiety and the fear shift the body into a state of contraction, maybe a collapsing of the chest or a freezing up of the legs. So it's all related, right? The physical holdings, the unprocessed emotion, the belief structures. It's important to know that the root of these things is the belief structure, but you can therapeutically release the belief structure, or you can work on the body and it will affect both, as above, so below. So we want to be able to have effective means of clearing the negative belief structures, limiting beliefs, and to clear the negative emotion and to heal the body. So this formula is something that anyone can work with. These are the 4 principles. I'm going to share more, but I want to offer that this is why I work with individuals one-on-one, and it's always good to have someone support you on your process, because they can see things that you can't, because we're working here at a deeper level than the conscious mind, yeah? Subconscious and unconscious. So practices and having people hold space for you can allow you to clear these negative emotions and belief structures at a faster rate. So let's go through the formula one more time. Also, I'm going to do it, I'll just say the formula and then I'll go through it in a little bit more detail. So principle number 1, align with your highest path of love, dharma, and excitement. Act on your highest path to the best of your abilities without hesitation, expectation, or attachment. And then cultivate a state of equanimity, a state of positivity, receptivity, and regulation. And then to create, so actively and deliberately write the story of your life. Write your thoughts, write your choices from the highest perspective. And then observe as limiting beliefs and other patterns of blocked energies, such as negative emotions or holdings, come up for you. Yeah? So what we're doing is we're taking deliberate and conscious control of our state, of our circumstances, right? Because we don't want to be a victim to our circumstance. We're co-creators in this life. We have a connection to the non-physical. We have a connection to the all that is, and we can tap into that mind. And there's a pathway here. There's a pathway of least resistance, because when we align, vibrationally align with the highest path of love, dharma, and excitement, we show up authentically. We show up authentically, and this is how we show up positively. Positively. We show up positively. The thing is, when you were in a negative state, we don't perceive things in the wholeness. We project our negativity and we limit what we see because we're stuck in that limitation. The more that we're in our natural state, we'll be connected to the deepest parts of us. We'll be in an expansive state, which will perceive the world through that expansion. We'll perceive opportunities. And when we're living in that state, that beautiful state, we're acting upon inspiration that's coming from within, which is guiding us, so that we're not seeking outside of ourselves for the answers. We're internally resourcing ourselves, which gives us internal strength and resilience. This internal resilience helps us to cultivate the rest of the formula, the regulation. It helps us to regulate our system, because the more we focus internally, it's like a muscle. Before, we had been meeting our needs outside of ourselves, mentally, emotionally, physically. The more that we internally resource, we start to breathe into the body to regulate our state instead of eating food or watching TV. This builds more energy in the system, which we have to go out and do what we love. So as we continue to act, action is so key on our highest path that is aligned with who we are and what is most representative of our passion. The universe handles the details. This is what we need to do. This is how we meet the universe. To the degree you meet the universe, it meets you. You give 50%, it gives 50%. You give 100%, it gives 100%. When you give 100%, that's the pathway of least resistance. I keep messing those up. So what we have here is a complete formula, and it all works together, all the pieces at once. Because when you're acting on that path, then you're in the regulated state. You're in the receptive state. This is when you're most resilient. But then negative beliefs come up. That's part of the process. That's okay. Expansions and contractions are part of life. They help to give you guidance and orientation. They're They're a kind of they're a guidance system. As negative emotion arises, it's telling you something. It's not to be avoided, as if you did something wrong. This is showing you the limitation, the edge, a possibility. It's like when you run really fast and you're meeting your edge of running faster than you've ever ran, you're going to experience a certain quality of discomfort in the body. That's not a bad thing. That's just the edge, where when you move beyond, you get that expansion and it feels so good after, yeah? And then the whole calibration of living and acting upon your highest passion, what we do is we begin to disentangle habit pattern reactions of avoiding discomfort and orienting towards pleasure. But didn't I say to always act and align with your highest passion and excitement? Isn't that like choosing cocaine and heroin one day and continue to do all the things that give pleasure? No, no, no. The highest path of dharma and love and excitement. Not just pleasure, not just pushing your pleasure buttons. The highest path. The highest path evolves in a way which is harmonious, which is not going to be with that attachment and that grasping. Because when you continually drop into who you are, the less you will need to do, and the more concerned you'll become about your being, about your state. And that's what a lot of this is. This is vibrational alignment work. This isn't the masculine path of goal setting. This formula is for calibrating to your true essence. And this is well, it's much of the spiritual wisdom at play here, yeah? The spiritual adage, I don't know how to pronounce that word, I've never actually heard it said before. The spiritual adage of, if you want to change the world, turn within. Paraphrasing the term there. But we're not looking to control external circumstances to get what we want. We take our power back by giving ourselves all the power of not allowing circumstances to guide us, because we don't control to the degree we control what's in here. So we take the focus of our intention and we focus on aligning with what we want, what is most representative. And this formula can be developed, and this is how I develop my coaching system, into a way of building our dream as a vision. Most important is the feeling and the call of inspiration and alignment towards it. But it can also be done as a moment-to-moment formula for living, because in each and every moment we have an opportunity to look around, and of the many things that we can do, we can calibrate to our heart and go, what's most representative of my highest excitement? Of all the things we can do, we can choose that, and we can follow that, and we can see what comes up. The negative and limiting belief structures. We can practice our practices in the morning and the evening, building resilience, and then as negative and limiting beliefs come up, we can disentangle them. Get really curious about where they came from and why they're there, and what's underneath the emotion of fear, and what's underneath that, and what's underneath that belief structure. And when we can begin to disentangle this, we can live at a higher level of dharma, at a higher level of universal order within ourselves and in the world. So once again, the 4 principles. We want to align. This is simple, vibrational. It's checking in. What's most representative of my love, of my dharma, my purpose, my highest path of excitement, passion, following my bliss. How can I act on that? To the best of my abilities, given my circumstances, given what's going on, to act on it without hesitation, just to do it. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be going for a walk. Whatever is most representative of you checking in and honestly asking. Do this without expectation, without attachment, without needing to know how it's going to all play out in the big scheme of things, of all your goals and dreams. Just trusting. And cultivate your state. I recommend in the morning and the evening. It can be a small 5 to 20 minute routine. But in every moment we have an opportunity to shift our mind to gratitude and equanimity. Maybe just 10 deep breaths, just to shift into gratitude, grateful for the breath of life. And then write our story consciously. Write your thoughts. not all the time writing thoughts and controlling the mind. It's a relationship, a dance there between the thoughts that we think and allowing thoughts to come. But writing our story, so being aware of the deliberate choices we're making and the narrative that goes on in our head. Be very mindful of the mind, yeah? Be mindful of the story that we're enacting, the archetypes that are at play. And being aware of patterns of block energy. What is the body saying? Is it speaking? Is the pain teacher speaking, as Paul Chek would say? What is the body speaking? Where are the patterns of blocked energy? This is what we need to figure out. It's not the problems out there. It's what's in here, which is the limitation that's actually preventing us from moving forward. And when we get to know this one, and where the energy is blocked, and we learn a few tools, maybe go to a few breathwork ceremonies and get an understanding of some of the things that we can work with as internal tools that we can self-resource with to clear these on our own. Because my idea of success is to teach a person to fish, yeah? I don't want to see clients continually and be their healer. That's not what I've been trained in. I've been trained in everybody who comes to see me is the healer, and I'm a space holder at my highest. I'm like a doula helping them. And we want to be able to empower individuals because all the power is truly within, and we can support one another. We can support one another by living our highest path and embodying that energy. So when other people see that, they're inspired by it. Because as far as I can see, I'm not here to save anyone. I'm responsible for this one. But when I truly am responsible for this one, it benefits everyone. But the process isn't me trying to save everyone out there. It's me focusing on this one and allowing the natural process of things that will align up through forces far beyond my physical mind's ability to know. So I act, I create my life to the best of my abilities, choosing the optimal things, clearing the energy from my system, and continuing to act on the most exciting thing, the most exciting thing, and the most exciting thing. And it's a beautiful way to live. And in my process of embodying this formula, I've seen myself say yes and yes and yes to things I didn't think were possible financially, doing things I didn't think were possible in my business, reaching new heights of meditation and practice that I didn't think were possible at one time because of the limitations of my mind. Yeah? It's a beautiful pathway. Thank you all for listening.